Hey everybody. Today I want to talk about the idea of having an inner critic and how you can work with this using IFS or internal family systems. I think IFS can be a great way to work with the parts of us that are super self-critical, that berate us, that make things really hard on us inside. I just want to quickly define the idea of having an inner critic. Most people experience this in some way or another. It can show up right before a presentation, that part of your brain that starts really devaluing you, complaining that you're not good at this or there's no way you can be successful. It predicts failure. Or it could be the part of you that after an interaction with someone, as you're walking away, starts giving you all the ways you messed this up, all the ways you didn't meet the mark. For some people, it can be about their bodies. They look in a mirror and the voice starts up on just how bad they look, what's wrong with their physical appearance, and so on. Now, often you'll hear in self-help about how to get rid of this thought or how to ignore it, but I think IFS offers a better way. And in a nutshell, it's how to relate to it in a different way, rather than fight with it, get angry with it, or struggle with it. So that's kind of what I want to present to you today. I've written a lot about IFS, internal family systems, and there are lots of blog posts and other videos I have, but just a really quick, brief explanation regarding how we can work with an inner critic. IFS looks at our experience, our thoughts, our feelings, our body sensations as parts of ourselves. And so I often give this example. In English, we say you can be of two minds on something. On one hand, a part of me wants to have dinner with some friends. On the other hand, a part of me would prefer to just stay home and hang out on the couch. So we already use this language. IFS just takes that a step more deeply further. So with IFS, we could have a part of us that really hopes to do well in a presentation, a part of us that is a little nervous about how other people will perceive it, and then there could be that part of our brain that is berating us. You're no good at this, you're going to fail at this, you didn't prepare enough for this, you're not smart enough, etc. So we have these parts, and IFS also has a concept called self. It's the you that's not the part. It's the you that's not feeling self-critical, not anxious, not even excited. It's the you that is calm and can observe this. So often with my clients, the way we work with this is I tell them, notice the you that is observing this critical part of your brain. That's self. Self is usually where you notice some curiosity or some understanding of what's going on in your internal experience. And we can work with that to work with our inner critics. Now, an inner critic in IFS terms is called a manager part or a protector part. And this is a really important thing to think about. The inner critic is not criticizing you to make you miserable. It's criticizing you to protect you. In the case of an inner critic, it's typically criticizing you because it doesn't want you to ever feel the shame of something's actually wrong with you or to feel what failure actually feels like. The inner critic learned a long time ago in your life at some point that to berate you would get the job done. You would succeed. You would succeed, or you would do better. You would improve as a person. And so the inner critic holds this belief. If I berate you, if I criticize you, you'll take action and everything will be okay. Now, sometimes it helps. Sometimes having an inner critic to say you really need to get it together, you're not prepared, can give you some motivation. But most of the time, we struggle with this. We suffer because of it. Ultimately, ironically, we often end up in shame. We feel bad about ourselves. But to think about the inner critic as being a part of you that's just trying to protect you, even though it's not being super helpful at that, can be really powerful as a reframe. So how I can suggest you work with this is I'm going to give you kind of the framework of how you can use IFS on your own, or with a therapist. This is how we often work with clients. The first step is to get curious. See if you can get some curiosity when you start noticing those self-critical thoughts. that curiosity can be a place to start and then label, oh, I'm noticing these really self-critical thoughts again. We call this in IFS unblending. It's literally like putting some space away from you, putting some space between you and these thoughts. So when you approach this with curiosity and say, oh, wow, I'm noticing that self-critical part of me is really hitting hard right now, that can help you start to create some space and start to work with it in a new way. Then you can approach it again with some curiosity, hopefully a little bit of calm, and get to know the part. From this curiosity, you can ask the part, what are you scared of? What are you scared of about this presentation? And most likely the part will say, I'm scared you fail. I'm scared other people will see something is wrong with you. You may even get curious about how you experience the part. Maybe it's thoughts like berating you. Maybe it's feelings in your body. Maybe it's a heaviness or a sad emotion. Just notice that. You can get to know the part and what it's afraid of. You can also ask it, well, what's its job? And it'll tell you, my job is to make sure you never fail, because that would feel awful. And learn more about how it tries to protect you. Now, here's where this gets interesting. When we do this, we are starting to approach this part in a new way, a place of curiosity, of calm, of being compassionate. Wow, this part really works hard. It doesn't want me to feel bad. And rather than judge it, being open to hearing from it, the part often starts to soften. It starts to feel seen, and something interesting happens, and I see this with clients all the time. The part becomes willing to relax a bit and perhaps hear from your wise self that maybe we'll be okay in this presentation, or maybe we did okay in this interaction with others. And so the work of IFS is to learn how to relate to our parts in new ways and to create more balance in our system. So an example with the inner critic would be, let's say you have a presentation coming up, and you might notice a little bit of anxiety, a part of you feeling anxious. I hope it goes well. You may have a part of you that feels like, I really hope it's a success because that would help my career, okay? And you may have a part that says, I'm not sure we're ready for this. I'm not sure we're prepared enough. That could be the inner critic. Our goal is to be able to hear from these parts, learn from them, work with them, make them our allies, but not have them take over. So an inner critic could offer, like, you really need to prepare hard for this. I'm not sure we're ready for it yet. It really needs to be a better product than what you got right now. Okay, that's helpful. As opposed to when the inner critic takes over and overwhelms you and makes you feel awful. So, just some takeaways of how you could work with this. This can be pretty simple if it is just you from a place of curiosity, from a place of feeling a little bit of calm, a little bit of centeredness, noticing, aha, there's that part. There's that part of me that is always berating me. And then see if you can get that part to give you a little space. Notice it. You can even do it by just simply saying, I'm noticing the inner critic has shown up again. Okay? And that can feel very different. It can feel like your brain is working with it in a new way. And then get to know it a little bit. What's wrong? What's your concern? What are you worried is going to happen with this presentation? Now, I don't want you to think that it's always going to be that simple and then everything works out well. We definitely have parts that hold a lot of deeper issues, trauma, and often that is the work of therapy. Working with an IFS therapist can be really helpful for working with parts that have a lot of trauma or a lot of deeply held beliefs that are hard to shake. But I think that anybody can start from this place of naming a part and working with it in a new way. So that's sort of an overview. I wrote a blog post on this. I have lots of other IFS materials out there. Let me know if you have any questions about how you can work with this.